So maintaining a healthy diet is essential to sustaining concentration during those very important and often challenging exam periods or times when focus is essential. To give us a few key pointers on what we should be eating is dietitian Megan Kluyts. Megan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We know it's a tough time, and I think we often forget because so much focus is on what we've got to do in the academic side of going through the exams, and it is. We can relate at any age. We've all been through it. But we forget that there are some tools that you can use that make it so much easier, just managing your diet. Let's talk about some of the stimulants that we often go to because we need a quick fix, like sugar or caffeine, which is a daily go-to. It has a place, but maybe not necessarily in exams. What kind of effect can these have on the mind when you're in that exam phase?
Absolutely. Well, physically it could be useful, but when it comes to mentally, we use glucose for our brain, and that's our main fuel source. But unfortunately, what it does is it can, something like sugar, rushes into the brain, and it can then cause a bit of a slump happening. So it's not going to give you that long-term alertness that you're looking for in concentration. And the same very much with caffeine. So it's not the go-to when you look. You have to be, look at smart snacking when it comes to exam time.
I'm thinking maybe like as a final resort, 9 days down, maybe then. But I think the main thing that we're covering here, just like you should be pacing yourself in the way that you're learning to reduce your stress, maybe the same approach, that adaptation in your eating. How should we adapt our diet and our eating plan when we're heading into that exam period?
One of the most important things we can start with, and it actually is quite simple when we start looking at it, is not skipping meals. So making sure that you eat regularly and have small healthy snacks in between. That's a really good start. So when you're having those small healthy snacks, make sure they're available. And that's what you're going to put into your shopping trolley, not the chocolates and the sweets and the biscuits.
Fix, yeah.
Yes.
We have spoken so much on the show about development and nutrition in that. So moving kind of to a slightly lower age gap, what foods are good for building that brain power in a developmental way as we move through those growth phases? Yes. I know we know carrots great for the eyes, spinach great for the brain. We know a lot of these things, yet we still don't go to these things to grow ourselves. What should we be focusing on to help our children develop that brain capacity as they grow?
Yes, fantastic. And so the type of food and what they contain really plays quite a big role. And we're looking specifically at foods that are high in vitamin B, because that's really sometimes coined as the anti-stress vitamin. Plays a very important role at that time, particularly in the nervous system and also for energy. So we're looking at foods like your whole grain breads, your low GI breads that we get. We also then want to put something onto it, like a protein. It could be something like chicken, or fabulous would be something like fish. So you've got your tinned pilchards or even tinned salmon. They contain omega-3. And omega-3 is fantastic because it actually helps to boost as also your concentration levels, because the majority of the brain is actually made up of fat. And then the interesting point here as well is if you're going to boost your vitamin B, you can even look at foods like your legumes that you can start including. You can also include like your vegetables into that. And please remember that whatever you've got left from the night before, it can actually be a great filling onto a sandwich for the next day's snacks, and you can keep in the fridge.
You're going to be that kid who rocks up to school with like a fillet of salmon this morning. I absolutely love it. I think we often forget how the brain works and those synapses and the fatty acids and all those things that make up the brain, and we need the food to be able to build that. I'm guessing water is also making sure that you're getting a lot of water, and to manage your sleep cycles. Maybe you've got some tips to round us off here. What advice do you have for those who are actually in the throes of studying at the moment, and maybe for the parents who have to support them through that?
Yes, I think importantly, make sure that you stay hydrated.
Yeah.
So we're looking at your water being your go-to, but something like a rooibos tea, milk is a good option as well, some diluted juices, etc. And then when it comes to the snacking, make sure they're healthy. So you're looking at the low GI, whole grain types of carbohydrates that we then include a little bit of protein and a good fat, like maybe a little bit of avocado. And then if you're starting, going through the exam cycle, just don't go for anything new at that point in time.
I like that. Absolutely love that. And just relax. You got this, guys. You got this. Studying for exams, always a stressful time. We can all relate to that. But thanks to SASKO and superstar dietitian Megan Kluyts, you now know a few tips at least to prepare your body and your mind for that next exam. And if you're looking for some delicious, healthy recipes, why not visit the SASKO website? They've got some absolute gems there, sasko.co.za.
SASKO, baking together since 1930.